told you. I told every single one of you to put your faith in James Gunn. I told every single fucking one of you to put your faith in what this man's creating for DC. And I have been rewarded with that because it is off to a damn good start. A damn good start. Like, first, Blue Beetle. Yes, I technically count it as the first of this new DCU because it's the only character from that other one that's coming over into this one with the same actor. And now you have this one, the actual first project under that new DCU banner, and the first one in this first phase of this DCU, titled Gods and Monsters. And if everything else in the DCU can be this high quality, oh damn, Marvel might finally have some competition. Because this is a damn good start, and I'm super excited to talk about it. So, without further ado, and my obligatory F-bomb out of the way, let's talk about why this show is so awesome and you need to check it out now. If you're over 18, this show is very adult. What's up, what's happening, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station, your number one for animation, including WB not screwing something up for once, as well as TV and movies. I'm your host, Jadson Small. Welcome to my review for Season 1 of the first DCU project, Creature Commandos. Season 1. Now, I wasn't entirely sure what to think going into this one. It's James Gunn pulling a Guardians and taking a D-list group and team of characters and bringing them into the spotlight. And while I can't say if it's better or weaker than how it is in Guardians, this is something truly special, man. Like, this show may be short, it may only be 7 episodes, but damn if it doesn't make the most of it. Now, there is one big glaring flaw with this show, which we'll talk about. But I'm just going to tell you right now, this review is super positive. So if you have a problem with that, there's the door, skedaddle. Like, if you're one of those salty Snyder trash pandas that's just trashing the show without actually watching it, and actually without any merit or actual reason to dislike it, there's the door. Get out of here. I do not want to hear your bullcrap. As for the rest of you that are more open-minded and more curious, let's talk about why this show is great, and if you're over 18, you need to watch it. So, I have a very long written, lengthy review for this one. Honestly, I think it might even be longer and lengthier than my review for Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So, sit down, buckle up, and enjoy. While my personal headcanon is that the start of the new DCU was Blue Beetle, since he's the only one getting to keep the same actor going forward, this is the first project under that actual DCU banner. And I wasn't entirely sure how to feel about it at first. Sure, it's Gunn pulling in other Guardians and picking a very obscure team of characters to give a full spotlight to, over more recognizable names. But however, unlike Guardians where it already had somewhat of a foundation, thanks to an entire first phase of the MCU being finished before they were even introduced, this technically has none of that luxury, and is instead the beginning of the entire first phase of this new universe, said phase dubbed as Gods and Monsters by Gunn himself. Sure, it's not the first big film project of this first phase, but still had a tremendous amount of weight on its shoulders, and the hard R rating lessens its audience a good deal, or TVMA if you want to be specific. Since this is made with adults only in mind rather than families, like you can't watch this don't watch this with your kids, it would traumatize the fuck out of them. However, after how well Gunn did with Guardians, and most of 2021's Suicide Squad, love the first half of that movie, really don't like the second half of that movie. As well as knowing how talented of a guy he is, I had reason to be hopeful. However, knowing how WB sucks at marketing things, most of the time, I was determined to go in as blind as possible. So, I avoided all the trailers and kept my knowledge to nothing more than the poster and the release dates of every episode that they posted on their social media. Outside of that, I didn't watch the trailers, I didn't see any footage, nothing. I saw the poster, I saw the release dates, and I left it at that. I wanted to go in as blind as possible. And then I ended up having to delay viewing it due to a really packed schedule towards the end of last year. Same reason why I'm super far behind on my episode reviews of Dragon Ball Daima. So despite being more than interested in checking it out, it kind of ended up on the back burner unintentionally. During that time, though, I started seeing general spoiler-free reviews of it popping up in my feed, and while there was the expected Snyder trash pandas bashing without merit as per usual because they just can't get over themselves, from the actual people, it was scoring really well and garnering a great deal of praise, even from a lot of fellow critics that I know of, like Sean Chandler, Angry Joe Show, and Nando Cut, for example. Check out all three of those guys. All three of them make great content, which gave me optimism. And now that I'm finally caught up with everything else for this month, excluding the Monkey review, which don't worry, that's coming later, at last I had the time to check this show out for myself. And damn, am I so glad that I did, because Creature Commandos Season 1 is an awesome animated series and a fantastic start to this new DCU. And honestly has me even more excited for Superman, honestly. Sure, it's not my favorite animated series of this year so far. It's Dragon Ball Daima, and no, I will not apologize for that. But it's still up there. Not to mention after suffering through the awful Tomorrowverse era of DC animated movies last year for the final few reviews of DC Live 2, this was a much needed palate cleanser. Like, most of those movies aside from Long Halloween were trash. This, I really needed. Let's start with the positives, because there's a lot. 2D animation's phenomenal. Yes, this is 2D animated, showing that even in this day and age, it is still a popular and used art form, even if 3D CGI is technically cheaper. Voice acting is superb, especially, I'm gonna butcher this, and I'm sorry. Indira Varma, who most people may know as Allura from Vox Machina, and Frank Grillo, who is in way too many things to count. Most of the characters are fantastic, especially the bride, who very quickly became my favorite with her badass attitude and fascinating backstory that flips the entirety of everything you know about the Universal Monsters version completely upside down. Excellent writing. Like, this show's writing, it is so damn good. It fleshes out every single character, it gives them all a backstory, and it actually gets you attached to the characters. Even though they tell you, just like in Suicide Squad, don't get attached to these characters because literally any of them can die at any moment. And no, that's not a spoiler, that's literally the premise of the show. It's literally an inhuman version of the Suicide Squad. That's literally what the Creature Commandos are. But yeah, the writing in the show is excellent. Chaotically clever storytelling, awesome action, insane brutality and gore. Like, this is up there with Constantine City of Demons and Justice League Dark 2 Apocalypse War for some of the goriest and most violent content that DC has ever put out in animation. Like, this show, it does not hold back. Like, it may seem like that because the first episode or two, it's not super bloody, but then you get to, like, arms getting blown off and eyeballs popping out and people's skins getting melted off and incinerated. Like, this show does not hold back. It is gory as hell. And me being the sick gorehound that I am because of my horror nut background, of course I absolutely loved it. Hilarious dark humor. Like, this show is dark and twisted, but it's in a way where it's actually genuinely funny. Like, more than a few times in this show, I was laughing my ass off. Genuinely heartbreaking moments, including some very tragic deaths. I'm not going to say who, I'm just going to say, as I said before, don't get attached to these characters because literally any of them can die at any moment. But they give you backstories to get you attached, and that's what makes it effective. Stellar runtime of 22 minutes per episode, just like your neighborhood Spider-Man, and only 7 episodes in total. Yes, 3 less than Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and 1 less than even Has-Been Hotel. Yeah, I don't know why they chose 7. That feels a little weird to me. Making it more than an easy sit-through. You can sit through this easy, as long as you don't have a gag reaction to insane, intense blood and gore. a satisfying ending, and high rewatchability. This show is badass, and I can easily rewatch it anytime. However, it's got some flaws in its overall design, and one especially big, pointless, annoying one at that. Frankenstein. Now let me get this out of the way right now. Frankenstein is one of my favorite Universal monsters. I have always loved his story, his tragic character, and the incredible performance of the character by Boris Karloff. Like, I am as big of a Frankenstein fan as you can imagine. This version of Frankenstein, however, is an annoying, agitating piece of shit. I absolutely hate his fucking guts. I absolutely hate him. Now, I have nothing against David Harbour. He's a decent guy, and he is a good actor, even though he was in Hellboy 2019. I hope he fired his agent. I hope he fired his agent on that one, because that thing was a disaster. But this character was insufferable and agitating as fuck. Like, I could not stand this guy. By the halfway point of the show, I was rooting for Bride to axe him off as fast as possible. And so much runtime is wasted on him that ultimately amounts to absolutely nothing. Because, spoiler alert, when you get to the final few episodes of the show and the overall finale, Frankenstein doesn't do jack shit. Like, he's just there. And not even there for a long time at that. Which just left me questioning why he was even there to begin with. Screw Frankenstein, he's by far the worst part of the entire show. I really hope they fix that in the second season, because otherwise, he might become one of my least favorite DC characters ever. I hate this version of Frankenstein. He is awful. Then the rest of the problems are minor. The erratic pacing, the odd fake-outs, Flag getting the short end of the stick again. I know this is technically his father, but still, he gets the short end of the stick again. And some injury inconsistencies every now and then. Like, you have one scene where the bride has the absolute hell beaten out of her, and she has, like, bruises and cuts and a lot of blood. And then you go to the next scene, and she's perfectly fine. And they don't explain if she does or doesn't have regeneration. Just stuff like that is a little weird. In conclusion, while it's got some gashes and blood loss, this Inhuman Commando is more than ready to deliver an ass-kicking. Creature Commandos is a dark, adult, gory, violent, funny, and relentlessly entertaining animated series that delivers on its promises as well as simultaneously gives a very impressive first impression of this new DCU. Sure, Frankenstein is still a thorn in its side, but when the series overall is this genuinely great, it's worth suffering through, and all the good stuff is more than enough to compensate. Not to mention, the fast forward and skip buttons exist, so it's not that bad on rewatch. If you're over 18 and a fan of DC, this is a must-watch. Like, if you're over 18, if you're a fan of DC, and if you're not a single-minded Snyderverse trash panda, you need to watch this show. It is kick-ass, it is awesome, it is dark, gory, violent, and all kinds of batshit insane, in all the best ways possible. Like, if you need to watch this show. If you're over 18 and you can stomach intense gore, watch this show, because it will reward you. It is a damn good show. It is a damn good start to this DCU, and if this is the quality we can expect going forward, oh man, we might be in for something truly legendary. So, with all that said, let's get to my final verdict for this show. My final verdict for Season 1 of DC Studios' Creature Commandos, the first official project under the DCU banner, is a high, well-deserved, but slightly flawed 8 out of 10. I think this show is great. I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. And while I don't think it's up there with your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, it's very close. Like, Spider-Man's here, Commandos is here. It is a fantastic show. It is a great first impression to what this new DCU possibly has to offer, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. Yes, we do have to wait a while because our next DCU entry isn't until July with Superman, but no doubt it'll be worth it. I am super hyped and super excited to see where this DCU goes, and I'm just glad we have good DC things again. Like, because after years of suffering through the abysmal, awful DCEU, yeah, we need this. And if this is what we have to expect, yeah, we're gonna have something truly spectacular. And if those simple-minded trash pandas just can't see that, well, that's their loss and our gain. So, that's it. That was a long mouthful of a review. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this on the rest every single day. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments down below, but please no spoilers in case people decide to watch this show after watching this review. Also, feel free to let me know your thoughts on the DCU in general so far, how hyped you are for Superman, etc., etc. I am more than happy to read all those comments and hear your thoughts. So, with all that said now, I'm going to go get some editing done. That way I can watch this show again. Yes, I want to watch it again. It's that damn good. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next review. Take care, my fellow Commandos.
Lesson I want to forget. So listen and you won't regret. Be true to yourself, don't miss your chance, and you won't end up like the fool who ripped his pants.